So a question we've had is, what is harder to replicate, a hairline or a crown? Both are very difficult and have different challenges. A hairline, in essence, you're usually, or you can be, negotiating with the patient as to the height of it. And so we measure from the glabella, the midpoint between the eyebrows going up to the mid-central point of the hairline, and then from the outer part of the eyebrows to the recession points. And we try to go as conservative as we can, because we take into account the bone structure, the age of the patient, the donor limitations, the loss potential. And always keep in mind, it's easier to lower a hairline than to raise one up. So on a negotiation side, the hairline is more difficult. And then aside from the design, you need to make sure that you deploy the fine single hair grafts in the hairline, the angulation of those grafts. Dr. Bisanga will cut those recipient sites to give your depth, your density, your direction, and a complete design of that hairline. And then you go back with the 2s and the 3s as needed to really give that illusion of density with a nice seamless blend to the patient's native hair. So it can be very difficult to do, and if a hair transplant is fake, it will really be in the hairline, in the deployment, and sometimes coarser hair can look a little bit pluggy even in the best of hands. Dr. Bisanga's FUE will tap into the nape and the supraauricular areas to get those fine single hairs for a very nice refined hairline. And so there are those challenges there, and it's not just about how many grafts you put in it, or even trying to avoid front loading, which would be the term of putting too many grafts in the front. It's the whole package of that hairline design. And then for the crown, there's never an argument on the design pretty much, because it's there, it opens in 4 different ways, and you need to not rear load. You need not to backload and put too many grafts in the back. Unlike the hairline, it will open in 4 different directions. It's called the black hole of the scalp. And the epicenter would be the swirl or the whirl, and that needs to be created with those recipient sites being cut in non-parallel fashion. So you need to make sure that you can cut those without transection of any other follicular units, and or without transecting and cutting across the next recipient site. Make sure that whirl is natural. From there, that epicenter will swirl out and give all of the direction to the hair on the rest of the scalp. So you don't backload, you take into account the loss can be in all 4 directions. We usually, for a crown place at lower density, the design is technically harder to do in terms of dense packing, and because the sites are not actually parallel to each other, but also the swirl pattern will always allow light to the scalp. So the dense packing is not there, we go at a lower density. We have to replicate nature, so there will always be skin showing, and that's the case for guys who have got no loss in the crown. There could be skin purely because the placement and the displacement really of the light amongst those follicular units. So take into account not to rear load. Make sure you don't end up with an island of hair that becomes unattached. Keep into account future loss, and that just really that artistic design, because as a hairline can look unnatural, actually crowns can as well. I've seen crowns looking like antennas sticking up. Make sure that you follow nature, don't go too dense without backloading, and keeping it so it's attached in all 4 areas outside of the crown. Hey, thank you so much for watching our video. Please go to bhrclinic.com, and why not fill out our online consultation form to have a free appraisal. Let's get started together. Look forward to seeing you soon. Stay safe.